Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons. My name is Justin, and I'm going to be your guide to bringing your favorite League of Legends champions to life in Dungeons and Dragons. Today we're building Lucian, the Purifier. Lucian is the son of Urias, a sentinel of light. Urias traveled throughout Runeterra, fighting the Black Mist for years, while Lucian remained safe in Demacia. One day, Senna, Urias' apprentice, showed up on Lucian's doorstep with Urias' relic pistol in her hand. She was his apprentice, and fought by his father's side for years. While the two didn't get along initially, Senna and Lucian grew closer across their journey to perform the Vigil for Lost Sentinels for Urias. When Lucian proved capable of firing his father's pistol without any training, Senna decided he was worthy, and began training him in the ways of the Sentinels. Constant battles against the Black Mist and its wraiths later, and love blossomed between the two. While searching for a cure for Senna's curse, Thresh attacked the Sentinels and Senna was slain, Thresh claiming her soul. Senna sacrificing herself for Lucian led him down a dark path. He stalked Runeterra with a seething hatred, wielding both his and Senna's relic pistols against any darkness he could find. Eventually, he defeated Thresh, shattering his lantern and freeing Senna. Now that she is free, they both have a lot of work to do to understand the people they've become in their time apart. If only the Black Mists would recede and give them that time. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to take a minute and thank our awesome patrons over on Patreon who support us every month. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on and the relic pistols firing. If you like our videos and want to support the channel, come join us over on Patreon today for just $1 to get access to our awesome Discord community where we talk League and D&D all day long. Alright, now let's get into it. Here's a quick preview of the build. For race, we're going with Variant Human. Per usual, our stats are going to be determined using the standard array. For our stat priorities, we're going to max Dexterity and dump Strength. We do have a multi-class requirement of 13 in Dexterity and Intelligence. Our leveling path is going to be levels 1 through 5 in Fighter, 2 levels in Rogue for our dash, 6 levels in Wizard for our ult, and then we'll finish out the build as a fighter. Lucian's passive, Light Slinger, is going to come from Crossbow Expert. His Q, Piercing Light, is going to come from Piercing Arrow. Our W, Ardent Blaze, comes from Bursting Arrow, Haste, and Blade Song. His E, Relentless Pursuit, will come from Cunning Action and Mobile. And finally we get our ultimate, the Culling, from Upcasted Magic Missile, Action Surging, and Upcasting Magic Missile again. For race, we're going with Variant Human. Variant Humans gain a +1 to 2 ability scores. We'll go with Dexterity and Intelligence to bump our speed, accuracy, and round off our Intelligence score at level 1. We'll also get Proficiency in Intimidation, for the darkness we carry in our hearts since Senna was taken from us. And finally, the main thing we're here for, which is the free feat. Crossbow Expert is going to let us ignore the loading property of our relic pistols, which are just going to be flavored hand crossbows. It'll also remove the 5-foot disadvantage zone ranged weapons have, and let us make an attack with our bonus action, as long as we took the attack action that turn. For background, we have a couple options that could work. Haunted One, Soldier, and Acolyte were all ones that came up during the build stream. I took the Spirit of Soldier and Acolyte and went with Knight of the Order. Now, this will take some flavoring with your DM to make the Sentinels of Light in their world, but you'll get proficiency with Persuasion and Religion, and the Knightly Regard feature. Knightly Regard is going to give you aid and appreciation from those who are aligned with the Sentinels, or at least find their mission worthwhile, which is pretty much everyone. For stats, we're going for the balance Lucian and Senna are trying to find after the reunification with the standard array. Roll if you want to, just keep at least a 13 in Dexterity and Intelligence for multi-classing purposes. We're starting off with a 15 in Dexterity for the accuracy of our relic pistols and our speed. Constitution will be after that to help us maintain concentration and toughen us up a bit since we'll be taking a bit of a hit point dip in the middle of the build. Intelligence is next for his quick thinking and wits. Then we'll go with Charisma because of his charm and the terror he puts into the wraiths he kills. We'll have an average Wisdom and dump Strength. For equipment, we'll pick up 2 hand crossbows and have them flavored as our relic pistols. Right now they'll only deal 1d6 damage, but we'll get something in a bit to make them pack a bigger punch. And then, as his nice leather Sentinels outfit, we'll pick up some studded leather armor. Alrighty, we're kicking off the build with some levels in Fighter. Fighters have a D10 hit die and give us proficiency with our leather armor and our hand crossbows. We'll also get acrobatics and athletics proficiencies to assist our movement on the battlefield. First level fighters choose a fighting style to hone their skills with. It shouldn't be much of a surprise, but we're going with the archery style for the +2 to our attack rolls with our relic pistols. And the final level 1 feature we'll get is Second Wind, which is a bonus action heal you can use once per rest that'll restore 1d10 plus your fighter level and hit points. Remember to use it before you ever spend hit die on a short rest, since it'll recharge then anyways. Second level fighters gain one of the best features in the game, Action Surge, letting you push yourself to the limit once per rest to gain an additional action on your turn. We're going to be using this with Magic Missile later on to get a total of 10 magical darts to fire for our ultimate. Level 3 fighters choose their martial archetype, which, as I've joked about before, is just a fancy word for fighting style. We're going with Arcane Archer here. Now, before you get your knickers in a twist and head down to the comments section, I know this technically doesn't work with hand crossbows. There's absolutely no good reason for this, and we're going to press forward on the assumption that your DM won't care about this completely unnecessary restriction. Arcane Archer lore is going to give us proficiency with Arcana and the Druidcraft cantrip, though I doubt it'll come up much unless you really want to force it. More importantly, we'll get our Arcane Shot, which is a feature we can use twice per rest to enhance our crossbow bolts. The first we'll talk about is Piercing Arrow, which is going to be how we get our Q. Rather than making it an attack roll when you fire this, you'll force each creature in a 30-foot line to make a dex save or take the arrow's damage plus 1d6. The other option we'll have is Bursting Arrow, which will be our W. When your relic pistol hits, it'll deal an additional 2d6 force damage to each creature within 10 feet of it. Just flavor it as a pre-star pattern, and then Action Surge and cast Haste on yourself for proper effect. 4th level fighters get the first ability score improvement of the build. As always, we'll break down all of our choices here so you can pick and choose along the way. At Fighter 4, we'll add some oomph to our relic pistols with the Sharpshooter feat, letting us attack at max range without disadvantage and ignore 1/2 and 3/4 cover. On top of that, we can call our shots, taking a -5 to our attack roll to add 10 flat damage to each attack. Remember that archery is going to give us a +2, so it partially mitigates this. At Wizard 4, we'll get the mobile feat for some mobility. Our base speed will increase by 10 feet, our dashes will let us ignore difficult terrain, and the opportunity attack bit isn't relevant because we don't make melee attacks in this build. At Fighter 6, we'll start angling towards maxing our dexterity with 2 points. At Fighter 8, we'll max it out with another 2 points. And finally at Fighter 12, we'll take the Piercer feat to mimic Infinity Edge. You'll get a free point in strength, and once per turn, you can take one of your relic pistol's damage die and re-roll it if it's a stinker. The IE part comes in whenever you deal a critical strike with your relic pistols, letting you roll an additional damage die. Level 5 fighters gain the ability to extra attack, meaning we can fire our hand crossbows twice per attack action, or 3 times per turn thanks to Crossbow Expert. And now we'll jump over to Rogue to get cunning action for our E. Rogues have a D8 hit die and give us proficiency in investigation, which will help with our Sentinels of Light work. We'll also get expertise with our acrobatics and athletics, letting us double our proficiency bonus with them. The Thieves' Cant is a language we'll learn to allow us to communicate with other rogues, but it isn't super important to Lucian. Maybe flavor this as a secret language between the Sentinels. And finally, we'll get our Sneak Attack feature, which will just give us some bonus damage here and there. Once per turn, when you land an attack with advantage, or against an enemy with an ally within 5 feet of it, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage on top. Second level rogues get what we're here for in the form of cunning action. This feature is going to give us a couple great options for our bonus action, including dash, disengaging, or hiding. And now that we've gotten our basic abilities, let's switch over to Wizard to pick up a speed boost for our W and our ultimate. Wizards have an atrocious D6 hit die and give us no new proficiencies. We will get the Arcane Recovery feature, letting us recover half our wizard level and spell slots once per day when we finish a short rest. And finally, we'll talk about the spell that's going to be our ultimate, which is Magic Missile. Magic Missile is going to let us fire out 3 magical darts of force energy that'll deal 1d4 plus 1 force damage. For every spell slot we use above 1, we just add another dart to the equation, With our max of 3rd level spell slots, we'll be able to fire off 5 darts per cast. 2nd level wizards choose their arcane tradition. The new version of Blade Singing is going to give us some additional defenses and a little boost of movement. The Blade Song feature is a bonus action transformation that lasts for a minute, giving us an AC boost equal to our intelligence mod, 10 feet of movement speed, advantage on acrobatics check, and a bonus to our concentration spells equal to our intelligence mod as well. It has charges based on your proficiency bonus, which recharge after a long rest. Jumping up to level 5 wizard, we'll learn 3rd level spells, giving us the movement speed from our W with the haste spell. For a minute, you can give yourself double your speed, plus 2 to your AC, advantage on dex saves, and an additional action on each of your turns. We can use it to make a single attack, dash, disengage, or hide. Now that we've gotten our other abilities, we'll finish out the build as a fighter to reinforce our martial prowess. Level 7 arcane archers get magic arrow and curving shot. Magic arrow is going to let you turn any non-magical arrow, or bolt in our case, magical for overcoming resistances and immunities. And if while firing one of these magic arrows you miss, curving shot will let you use your bonus action to make another attack roll and redirect the arrow to another creature within range. Level 9 fighters gain Indomitable, letting you re-roll a saving throw you fail once per long rest. And finally at Fighter 11, we'll get another extra attack, bringing us up to 3 attacks per attack action, or 8 attacks per turn when we use Action Surge, Haste, and Crossbow Expert. Alright, now that we have completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. Our damage for this build is going to be relatively high, especially with Sneak Attack and Sharpshooter giving us some extra love. On top of that, you're going to be a blur across the battlefield. Your DM's monsters are going to have a tough time pinning you down. Now the bad. The main bad bit about this build is relying on your DM not being a turd about using hand crossbows as an arcane archer. I think it's an absolutely unnecessary restriction, but it is technically rules as written. Also, our ultimate isn't going to do nearly as much damage as I'd like it to, but it'll be a good match flavor-wise, so just roll with it. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, and you get access to our great Discord community. We plan on churning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.